The message came on a cold Tuesday morning in the year 2347. Director Sora Choi was drinking her third cup of coffee when her assistant ran into the room. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. He held a data tablet like it might explode at any moment. "Director," he said, "the Vrel want peace." Sora put down her coffee. She had fought in this war for 18 years. She had watched cities burn. She had signed death notices for millions of soldiers. The Vrel had never shown mercy. They had never offered peace. They only knew how to take and destroy. "Show me," she said. The message was simple. The Vrel Dominion wished to end the war. They proposed a treaty. They wanted to meet on the neutral world of Kois 4. Ambassador Lhasa would represent them. The tone was friendly. The words were kind. Sora read it 3 times. Her stomach felt sick. She called an emergency meeting of Earth's Defense Council. The leaders gathered within the hour. Some were hopeful. After 18 years of death, they wanted to believe peace was possible. Others were silent. They had learned that the Vrel never gave anything without taking more in return. Admiral Una Park sat at the far end of the table. She was 52 years old. Her hair was gray. Her eyes were sharp. She had won more battles against the Vrel than any other commander. She had also lost friends in every single one. "What do you think?" Sora asked her. Una looked at the message on the screen. "I think the Vrel are predators," she said. "And predators do not offer peace to prey. They offer traps. But what if it is real?" asked one of the younger council members. "What if they truly want to end this war?" "Then we accept with open arms," Una replied. "But we keep our guns loaded behind our backs." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what she meant. Captain Taekwon was the head of military intelligence. He was a quiet man with a serious face. He had spent years studying the Vrel. He knew their language. He knew their tactics. He knew how they thought. And right now, he did not like what he was seeing. "The timing is wrong," Tae said. 3 months ago, we destroyed their supply lines near the Kois sector. They should be weak. They should be desperate. Desperate enemies attack harder. They do not ask for peace. Unless they are planning something else, Una added. Tae nodded. "Exactly. This smells like a trap." Sora leaned back in her chair. She was tired. She wanted peace more than anyone in the room. But she had not survived 18 years of war by being foolish. "We will accept their offer," she said. The hopeful one smiled. Then she continued, "But we will prepare for betrayal. Admiral Una, you will lead the diplomatic convoy. Captain Tae, you will gather every piece of intelligence you can find. I want to know what the Vrel are really planning. And if we find proof of a trap," Una asked. Sora's eyes grew cold. "Then we spring our own trap first." The preparations began immediately. A diplomatic vessel called the White Crane was readied for the journey to Kois 4. It looked peaceful. It carried no visible weapons. But hidden inside its hull were some of the best soldiers Earth had ever trained. Dr. Hannah Lim was assigned to the mission. She was a xenolinguist, an expert in alien languages. She had studied the Vrel language for 10 years. She knew things about their words that even the Vrel did not know. Her job was simple. Read every document the Vrel provided and find anything hidden. Lieutenant Minho Beek was assigned as the tactical officer. He was young, only 28, but he had proven himself in battle many times. He was loyal. He was smart. And he followed Admiral Una with complete trust. Before they left Earth, Una called her senior officers to a private meeting. The room was small. The walls were thick. No signals could escape. "I want you to understand something," Una said. "Publicly, we are going to make peace. We will smile. We will shake hands. We will sign whatever paper they put in front of us. But privately, we are going to war. What do you mean? Minho asked. Yuna pulled up a star map. Operation Silent Thunder, she said. While we distract them with diplomacy, our real fleet will move into position. If this is a trap, we will be ready. If it is not a trap, then we lose nothing. But I do not believe the Vrel have changed. I believe they are planning to destroy us while we celebrate peace. Tay spoke up. My sources inside neutral space have reported unusual Vrel ship movements. They are hiding something near the Coles Nebula. I do not have proof yet, but I will find it. Find it fast, Yuna said. Our lives may depend on it. As the White Crane prepared to launch, Sora came to see them off. She stood before Admiral Yuna and placed a hand on her shoulder. Bring our people home, Sora said. Yuna nodded. I will, one way or another. The ship lifted off from Earth. It flew past the Moon, past Mars, past the outer colonies. It carried messages of hope and peace. But inside the hearts of everyone aboard, there was something else. There was doubt. There was suspicion. There was the memory of every betrayal humanity had ever suffered. The Vrel thought humans were naive. They thought humans would believe their lies. They did not know that humanity had been betrayed many times before by enemies far closer than the stars. They did not know that humans had learned one painful truth from their own history: trust no one. Prepare for everything. And never, ever let your guard down. The White Crane flew toward Coles 4, and behind it, hidden in the darkness of space, Earth's real fleet began to move. The White Crane traveled through space for 12 days. Dr. Hannah Lim spent most of that time in her small cabin, reading the peace treaty over and over again. Something was wrong with it. She could feel it in her bones. But she could not find proof. The treaty was written in both human language and Vrel language. The words seemed fair. Both sides would stop fighting. Both sides would return prisoners. Both sides would open trade routes. It sounded too good to be true. And in Hana's experience, things that sounded too good to be true usually were. She called Captain Taekwon to her cabin on the 8th day. He arrived looking tired. He had been working non-stop, trying to gather intelligence from his secret sources. I found something, Hana said, but I need your help to understand it. She showed him her work on the computer screen. The Vrel language was strange. It used sounds that humans could barely hear. Some of those sounds were so low that normal equipment could not detect them. I ran the treaty through a special audio filter, Hana explained. The written words say one thing, but hidden beneath them, there are secondary sounds. A second message. Tay leaned forward. What does it say? Hana played the hidden message. It was faint, like a whisper beneath a shout. But the words were clear once you knew where to look. The prey gathers. The fleet waits. Strike when the paper is signed. Tay's face went pale. They are planning to attack during the signing ceremony. Not just attack, Hana said. Look at this part. She pointed to another section of hidden sounds. 400 ships. Coles Nebula. Ready to move. The Vrel had hidden an entire invasion fleet behind the Coles Nebula. While humans celebrated peace, those 400 ships would strike Earth's colonies. The colonies would be undefended. Millions would die. Tay immediately sent a coded message to his intelligence network. Within hours, confirmation came back. Vrel ships had been spotted moving toward the nebula. The numbers matched Hana's discovery. The trap was real. Admiral Yuna Park received the news with a calm face. Inside, she felt cold anger. She had suspected this from the beginning. Now she had proof. They think we are fools, she said quietly. What do we do? Minho asked. Do we cancel the mission? Turn back? No, Yuna replied. If we turn back, they will know we discovered their plan. They will change their strategy. We will lose our advantage." She stood up and walked to the window. The stars looked peaceful, but she knew that somewhere out there, 400 enemy ships were waiting to kill her people. "We continue the mission," Una said. "We smile. We shake hands. We sign their treaty. And while we do that, our real fleet will move into position. When their ships leave the nebula to attack, they will find us waiting for them. We become the trap," Tay said. "Understanding, exactly." Una sent a coded message back to Earth. The message was short. "The crane flies true. Prepare the thunder." Director Sora Choi received the message and knew what it meant. She immediately authorized Operation Silent Thunder. 600 warships began moving in secret toward the Koi sector. They traveled in small groups, hiding behind moons and asteroids. They stayed silent. They sent no signals. To anyone watching, they did not exist. Meanwhile, Una gave orders to spread false information. Human spies, the ones they knew the Vrel had planted in their ranks, were fed lies. They were told that Earth's fleet was pulling back to defend the home system. They were told that the colonies were lowering their shields for peace celebrations. They were told that humanity believed the treaty was real. The Vrel received this information with great satisfaction. Ambassador Lhasa sent a message to Overlord Keth on the Dominion homeworld. "The humans suspect nothing," she wrote. "They are preparing for peace. Their defenses will be open. Victory will be easy." Overlord Keth smiled when he read the message. Humans were such simple creatures. They believed in hope. They believed in peace. They did not understand that the universe was built on power, not trust. The strong took from the weak. That was the only law that mattered. He gave the order to General Vryn. "Move the fleet into final position. When the treaty is signed, attack immediately. Leave no survivors." General Vryn was a veteran of many wars. He had destroyed dozens of human colonies. He enjoyed his work. This would be his greatest victory yet. "It will be done," Vryn replied. "The humans will burn." But General Vryn did not know that his message had been intercepted. Tay's intelligence network had broken the Vrel communication codes months ago. Every order, every plan, every secret whisper was being collected and analyzed. On the White Crane, Hana continued to study the Vrel language. She found more hidden messages in old communications. The Vrel had been planning this trap for years. The war, the losses, the recent defeats, all of it had been part of the plan. They wanted humans to feel tired. They wanted humans to want peace so badly that they would ignore the danger. "They know us better than we thought," Hana told Una. "They studied our psychology. They know that humans want to believe in good things." Una nodded slowly. "Yes, they know our weakness. But they do not know our strength." "What strength?" Minho asked. Una looked at her young officer with steady eyes. "Our history," she said. "Humans have been betrayed many times. By kings, by governments, by friends and family. We have learned to survive betrayal. We have learned to see traps before they close. The Vrel think our hope makes us weak. They are wrong. Our hope makes us fight harder. And our memory of past pain makes us careful." The White Crane was now only 2 days away from Colis 4. The crew prepared for the signing ceremony. They practiced their smiles. They rehearsed their speeches. They looked like people who believed in peace. But in the cargo hold, weapons were being checked. In the engine room, emergency escape plans were being reviewed. In the communication center, secret channels stayed open to the hidden human fleet. Admiral Una Park stood alone on the bridge, looking at the stars. Somewhere ahead, Ambassador Lhasa was preparing to greet her with false kindness. Somewhere behind, 600 human warships were moving into position. The Vrel thought they were hunting prey. They did not realize they were walking into a hunter's trap. Yuna allowed herself a small smile. "Come then," she whispered to the darkness. "Let us see who is the predator and who is the prey." Colis 4 was a massive space station built in neutral territory. It floated between human space and Vrel space, a place where enemies could meet without fighting. The station was run by a species called the North, who cared only about profit. They charged both sides enormous fees for the privilege of using their facilities. White Crane docked at the station on a bright morning, station time. Admiral Yuna Park stepped off the ship wearing her formal uniform. Her medal shone under the lights. Her face showed nothing but calm dignity. Behind her walked Captain Tay, Dr. Hana, and Lieutenant Minho. They all looked peaceful. They all looked trusting. It was the greatest performance of their lives. Ambassador Lhasa waited for them in the docking bay. She was tall, like all Vrel. Her skin was gray and smooth. Her eyes were large and black, without any warmth. When she smiled, it looked wrong, like a predator pretending to be friendly. "Admiral Park," Lhasa said, spreading her arms in welcome. "We are so happy you have come. Today marks a new beginning for our peoples." Yuna bowed her head slightly. "Ambassador Lhasa, the people of Earth thank you for this opportunity. We are tired of war. We want only peace." She said the words perfectly. Her voice was soft and humble. Anyone watching would think she truly believed them. Lhassa's smile grew wider. Behind those black eyes, she was laughing at this foolish human. So easy to trick. So desperate for hope. In just a few hours, human colonies would be burning, and this admiral would be dead or in chains. "Please, follow me," Lhasa said. "The Grand Hall is prepared. Overlord Keth himself will address us through hologram. This is a great honor." Yuna followed without hesitation. Her team walked behind her. To Vrel eyes, they looked like lambs walking into a slaughterhouse. The Grand Hall was enormous. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Hundreds of guests filled the room, diplomats, merchants, reporters from a dozen species. Everyone wanted to see the end of the Great War between humans and Vrel. At the center of the hall stood a table made of pure white stone. On it lay the peace treaty, waiting for signatures. Yuna looked around the room and spotted Vrel guards at every door. There were more guards than necessary for a peace ceremony. Of course there were. This was not a peace ceremony. This was an execution. She kept her face calm. A hologram flickered to life above the table. Overlord Keth appeared, 10 feet tall, looking down at the gathered crowd like a god judging insects. "People of the galaxy," Keth's voice boomed. "Today we end a war that has cost countless lives. The Vrel Dominion extends its hand in friendship to humanity. Let us build a future together, in peace and prosperity." The crowd applauded. Some humans in the audience had tears in their eyes. They wanted so badly to believe these words were real. Dr. Hana stood near the back of the room, watching everything. She knew the truth. Those beautiful words meant nothing. While Keth spoke of peace, his warships were preparing to attack. She felt sick, but she kept her face neutral. Captain Tay stood near a window, pretending to enjoy the view. In reality, he was watching a tiny screen hidden in his sleeve. It showed the position of the human fleet. 600 ships were now in place, waiting in the darkness behind a small moon. They were completely hidden from Vrel sensors. Lieutenant Minho stood by the door, looking like a bored young officer. But his hand was near his hidden weapon, and his eyes were tracking every Vrel guard in the room. The speeches continued for an hour. Ambassadors from other species spoke about hope and cooperation. Each word was meaningless noise to Yuna. She was counting time. She knew that General Vrin's fleet would begin moving the moment the treaty was signed. She needed to time everything perfectly. Finally, It was her turn to speak. Una walked to the podium. She looked out at the crowd, humans hoping for peace, Vrel expecting victory, neutral species watching with curiosity. For 18 years we have fought, Una said, her voice strong and clear. We have lost sons and daughters. We have buried friends. We have seen our worlds burn. Today, we choose a different path. Today, we choose peace. The crowd applauded again. Ambassador Lhasa clapped her strange hands together, her smile stretching impossibly wide. Una walked to the white table. She picked up the pen. Ambassador Lhasa stood across from her, ready to sign for the Vrel. We hope this marks a new beginning, Una said, looking directly into Lhasa's black eyes. Lhasa nodded. A new beginning indeed. They both signed the treaty. The crowd erupted in cheers. Humans hugged each other. Some cried with joy. The war was over. Peace had come at last. In the back of the room, Tay pressed a button on his hidden device. A coded message flew through space at the speed of light. The crane has landed. 600 light-years away, the hidden human fleet received the signal. Engines powered up. Weapon systems came online. Commanders gave final orders to their crews. All ships moved to intercept coordinates. The Vrel fleet will emerge from the nebula in approximately 90 minutes. We will be waiting. Back on Colis 4, the celebration continued. Champagne was poured. Music played. Ambassador Lhasa privately contacted General Vryn. The treaty is signed, she reported. Begin the attack. Understood, Vryn replied. Moving fleet now. Human colonies will be destroyed within 6 hours. Glory to the Dominion. Lhasa ended the communication and turned back to the party. She found Admiral Una Park standing nearby, holding a glass of champagne. To peace, Lhasa said, raising her own glass. To peace, Una replied. Touching her glass against Lhasa's, they both drank. Lhasa tasted victory. Una tasted something else entirely. Patience. The trap was set. The enemy was moving exactly where they wanted them to go. And in 90 minutes, the Vrel would learn a lesson they would never forget. Dr. Hannah appeared at Una's side. The music is lovely, she said casually. Don't you think it sounds like thunder? Una smiled, a real smile this time. Yes, she said softly. Silent thunder. My favorite kind. Across the galaxy, 400 Vrel warships emerged from the Colis Nebula, hungry for destruction. They flew toward human colonies, expecting easy targets. They did not. See the 600 human ships waiting ahead. They did not hear the commanders giving the order to water. Fire. They did not know that the war was about to end, but not in the way they had planned. General Vryn stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion's fist. Around him, 400 warships flew in perfect formation. They had traveled in silence for hours, hiding behind asteroids and dead moons. Now they were approaching human space, and victory was close. How far to the first colony? Vryn asked. 20 minutes, General, his navigator replied. Their shields are down. They are celebrating peace. They have no idea we are coming. Vryn made a sound like laughter. Humans were pathetic creatures. They believed in peace. They believed in treaties. They believed in the goodness of others. Such beliefs made them weak. Such beliefs made them prey. All ships, prepare weapons, Vryn ordered. We will strike the first colony hard. Leave no survivors. Let this be a message to all humans. His officers obeyed with pleasure. They had been waiting for this moment, but then something strange happened. General, the sensor officer said, his voice confused. I am detecting ships ahead. Cargo vessels? Vryn asked. Destroy them. No, sir. These are warships. Human warships. Vryn frowned. That was impossible. Human warships were supposed to be far away, defending their home system. The intelligence reports had been clear. How many? He asked. The sensor officer went silent. His hands trembled as he checked his readings again. 600, General. 600 human warships. The bridge fell silent. Every officer stopped moving. Every eye turned to the main screen, where the terrible truth appeared. 600 human ships sat directly in their path, arranged in perfect battle formation. Their weapons were already powered. Their shields were already raised. They had been waiting. Vrin felt something he had not felt in years. Fear. How is this possible? He whispered. They should not know. They could not know. A communication channel opened. A human voice filled the bridge, calm and cold. General Vrin, this is Admiral Unipark of the Earth United Fleet. You thought us naive. You thought we would believe your lies. You were wrong. On every Vrel ship, the same message played. The crews heard the human admiral's voice and understood that they had walked into a trap. Your fleet is surrounded. Una continued. You have two choices. Surrender now, and your lives will be spared. Refuse, and you will be destroyed. You have 60 seconds to decide. Vrin's fear turned to rage. He was a general of the Vrel Dominion. He did not surrender to prey. All ships, attack. He screamed. Break through their formation. Fight to the last. The Vrel fleet charged forward. 400 ships against 600. But Vrin still believed he could win. His ships were strong. His warriors were brave. Humans were weak. He was wrong. The human fleet fired first. Thousands of missiles and energy beams cut through space. The first wave hit the Vrel front lines like a hammer. Shields shattered. Hulls cracked. Ships exploded in balls of fire. Vrin watched in horror as a quarter of his fleet was destroyed in the first 30 seconds. Return fire, he ordered. Target their command ships. The Vrel fought back, but they were badly positioned. The humans had chosen the battlefield. They had prepared every angle, every approach. Vrel ships flew into crossfires. They tried to escape, but human ships appeared behind them, cutting off retreat. Lieutenant Minho Beak led a strike team of fast attack ships. They flew between the giant Vrel warships, striking weak points with precise shots. A Vrel cruiser exploded. Then another. Then another. Keep moving, Minho told his pilots. Don't let them target you. We are faster than they are. On the Dominion's fist, alarm screamed. The ship shook with each impact. Vrin grabbed his command chair to stay standing. General, we must retreat. His second officer shouted. We cannot win this fight. There is no retreat. Vrin snarled. The humans have blocked every exit. It was true. The human fleet had moved to surround them completely. Every path of escape was covered. The Vrel were trapped in a cage of fire. The battle lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of chaos and death. 3 hours of burning ships and dying screams. When it finally ended, the silence was terrible. 340 Vrel ships were destroyed or captured. 60 had surrendered when their commanders realized the fight was hopeless. Only a handful had managed to escape into deep space, badly damaged and alone. Human losses were light. 20 ships destroyed. 40 damaged. A tiny price for such a massive victory. On College 4, the celebration had turned to chaos. News of the battle reached the station while Ambassador Lhasa was still drinking champagne. Her glass shattered on the floor. Impossible, she whispered. This is impossible. The doors of the Grand Hall burst open. Captain Taekwon walked in with a squad of human marines. Their weapons were raised. Ambassador Lhasa, Tae said, his voice like ice. You are under arrest for conspiracy to commit genocide. You and your entire delegation will come with us. Lhasa tried to run. She made it 3 steps before a Marine caught her arm. She was strong, but the Marine was stronger. She was pushed to her knees. "You cannot do this," she screamed. "This is neutral territory." Tay looked down at her without pity. "You plan to murder millions of innocent people. You signed a treaty with blood already on your hands. There is no territory in the galaxy that will protect you now." The Vrel delegation was taken into custody. The neutral species watching said nothing. No one wanted to defend the Vrel anymore. They had been caught in their lie dot back in space. Admiral Unipark's ship approached the Dominion's fist. The Vrel flagship was badly damaged, but still in one piece. General Vryn was alive. Marines boarded the ship and brought Vryn to a meeting room. He was wounded. His uniform was burned, but his eyes still held defiance. Una entered the room and sat across from him. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. "How?" Vryn finally asked. "How did you know?" Una leaned forward slightly. "We broke your communication codes. We found the hidden messages in your treaty. We tracked your fleet movements. We knew everything, General, from the very beginning." Vryn shook his head in disbelief. "But our intelligence said humans were foolish, trusting, naive." "Your intelligence was wrong," Una replied. "Humans have been betrayed many times in our history. By our own kind, by those we trusted. We learned from that pain. We learned to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst." She stood up and walked to the door. "You saw our hope and thought it was weakness," she said, looking back at him. "That was your mistake. Our hope gives us something to fight for. Our memory of past betrayal tells us when to fight. You had neither, and now you have lost everything." She left the room. General Vryn was taken to prison. His war was over. Across the galaxy, the news spread. The Vrel trap had failed. Humanity had won. The predators had become prey, and the universe would never see humans the same way again. 1 year had passed since the Battle of Cully's Nebula. The galaxy had changed more in that single year than in the previous century. The Vrel Dominion was finished. Without their fleet, without their leaders, their empire crumbled from within. Civil war broke out as different factions fought for control. Planets that had been conquered by the Vrel declared independence. The great predator species that had terrorized the galaxy for generations was now fighting for survival. Overlord Keth was captured on his homeworld 3 months after the battle. He had tried to escape to a distant colony, but human ships tracked him down. He was brought to Earth to face trial for war crimes. The trial lasted 6 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. He was found guilty and sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison. When the verdict was announced, Keth said nothing. He simply stared at the floor, broken and empty. The being who had once dreamed of ruling the galaxy could not even rule himself anymore. Ambassador Lhasa received a similar sentence. General Vryn joined them. The architects of genocide would never see freedom again. Earth emerged from the war as the strongest power in the sector. Other species, who had once looked down on humans as weak newcomers, now saw them differently. The humans had been underestimated. The humans had been betrayed. And the humans had won. Director Sora Choi retired from her position, her duty finally complete. She had guided humanity through the darkest years of the war. Now she could rest. In her final speech, she said, "We did not want this war. We did not seek power. We only wanted to survive. But survival required us to be strong. Remember this lesson. Be kind to those who deserve kindness. Be strong against those who would destroy you. And never, ever let your guard down until peace is truly earned." Admiral Unipark also retired. She had spent her entire adult life fighting wars. She wanted to spend whatever years remained in quiet peace. A statue was built in her honor in the capital city of Earth. It showed her standing tall, looking toward the stars. her hand reaching out as if welcoming the future. Captain Taekwon accepted a new position as the head of Galactic Intelligence. His network of spies and analysts had saved humanity. Now he would use that network to protect not just Earth, but all the species who wanted genuine peace. He trained new agents. He built new alliances. He made sure that no surprise attack would ever catch humanity off guard again. Lieutenant Minho Beek was promoted to captain. He was given command of a new flagship called the Never Again. The name was a promise. Humanity would never again be caught unprepared. Never again would they trust without verifying. Never again would they ignore the signs of betrayal. Dr. Hannah Lim received the most surprising appointment. She was named as Earth's new ambassador to the Galactic Assembly. Her skill with languages had uncovered the Vril trap. Now that skill would be used for a different purpose, building real peace with honest partners. The Galactic Assembly met on a great space station at the center of neutral territory. Representatives from dozens of species gathered there to discuss trade, borders, and cooperation. For years, humans had been observers only, too weak to matter. Now, they had a full seat at the table. Hannah's first appearance at the assembly was historic. She walked into the great chamber wearing simple clothes, nothing fancy. She carried no weapons. She spoke no threats. But every eye in the room was watching her. The speaker of the assembly, an ancient being from a species called the Yoth, welcomed her formally. "Ambassador Lim," the speaker said, "humanity has earned its place among us. We invite you to speak." Hannah stood before the assembly. Hundreds of alien faces looked at her. Some were curious. Some were afraid. Some were still hostile. She addressed them all. "Thank you," Hannah said, her voice clear and strong. "1 year ago, humanity was nearly destroyed by a lie. A treaty was offered. We accepted it in hope of peace. But hidden beneath the words was a plan for our extermination." The chamber was silent. Everyone knew the story, but hearing it from her felt different. "We survived because we did not trust blindly," Hannah continued. "We survived because we prepared for betrayal while hoping for honesty. Some might think this makes us paranoid. Some might think this makes us cold. But I believe it makes us careful. And I believe it makes us wise." She paused and looked around the room. "Today I bring you humanity's terms for cooperation. They are simple. We want peace. True peace, built on honesty. We want trade. Fair trade, where both sides benefit. We want friendship. Real friendship, where trust is earned through actions, not just words." A delegate from a merchant species raised a hand. "And what if someone betrays you again?" Hannah smiled slightly. "Then we will respond as we did before. We will defend ourselves. We will win. And we will continue to move forward. But we would rather not fight. We have lost enough already. We have buried enough of our children. We seek partners, not enemies." Her words spread through the galaxy. Some species were impressed. Others were worried. A few were angry. But no one could ignore humanity anymore. Over the following months, new alliances were formed. Species that had avoided humans before now sought their friendship. Trade routes opened. Cultural exchanges began. Students from different worlds visited Earth, and human students traveled to alien planets. It was not perfect. There were disagreements. There were misunderstandings. Some species still held grudges. But slowly, carefully, a new order was taking shape. One evening, several months after her assembly speech, Hannah was attending a diplomatic reception on the station. A young delegate from a minor species approached her. He was small, with large eyes and greenish skin. His people had only recently achieved space travel. "Ambassador Lim," he said shyly. "May I ask you a question?" "Of course," Hannah replied warmly. Your species is so new to the galaxy, the young delegate said. How did you know not to trust the Vrel? How did you see through their trap when older, wiser species did not? Hannah thought about the question for a moment. She remembered the war. She remembered her friends who had died. She remembered reading the treaty and finding the hidden message that saved billions of lives. We are new to the galaxy, she finally said. That is true, but we are very old at being human. Our history is full of pain. We have been betrayed by our own leaders, by our own brothers and sisters, by those we loved most. Every generation learned from the suffering of the one before. She looked at the young delegate with gentle eyes. We learned one lesson above all others: hope for peace. But never forget that trust is earned through actions, not words. Watch what beings do, not what they say. Prepare for the worst while working toward the best. And never, ever stop fighting for what you believe in. The young delegate nodded slowly, absorbing her words. Thank you, Ambassador, he said. I will remember. Hannah watched him walk away. She felt tired but also hopeful. A new generation was rising in the galaxy. Perhaps they would build something better than what came before. She turned to look out a window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the human fleet patrolled the borders. Somewhere out there, new colonies were being built. Somewhere out there, children were being born who would never know the war. The Vrel had thought humanity was weak. They had thought hope was a flaw. They had thought trust was foolishness. They had been wrong. Humanity had survived. Humanity had won. And now humanity would help shape the future of the galaxy, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as partners, cautious, careful, and ready for anything. The stars stretched out forever before her. And for the first time in a very long time, Hannah allowed herself to truly believe in a better tomorrow.